Yet the number of students is quite low, but anyway, we are not going to wait no more because we are already 10 minutes or about 10 minutes late to start. So anyway, because of this time changing problem, I have been here in the classroom for over half an hour, or actually it is about 45 minutes here or so. I hope that everyone is completing their assignments and their research about the questions that we posed. Inshallah, we'll have 3 more topics to conclude the first part of the theoretical side of the herbal medicine. You know, most of us, we do not assume the importance of the very first part, which is tabi'iyat, and the second part, which is daruriyat, because it looks like that just normal information. But believe me, when you will start practicing the herbal medicine, then you will say that you regret that you did not study the first 2 parts very firmly and very deeply. Because you diagnosing requires some information. So now some of the students could be waiting to start the practical side, diagnosing and other things, you know, so which will be also in the first part, you know, the third category of the first part, which is related to the illness. So some of the students are waiting for that part. You know, that part will be only very, you can say, shallow principles. There will not be a lot to diagnose the illness. Okay, there will be only some tips. But what makes you to diagnose the illness? So the first 2 parts that we're studying right now, tabi'iyat and daruriyat, that is the most important part. Okay, specifically these anasir and mizaj. These 2 things are very important. Okay. And in the chapter of Daruriyat, we are going to discuss something related to the effect of the surrounding conditions on your mizaj. So these 3 things are the most important part of our herbal medicine. So in the future, when you will start diagnosing, when you will have your own clinic, etc., when you will start diagnosing and giving treatment to your patients, you will be using the information that we're discussing right now. Okay, so that's why it's quite important for you to study it properly. Okay, so so that's why I may ask you to make some more assignments relating to the first tabi'iyat. Okay, so do not be depressed about it. So the previous chapter that we have discussed, it was related to the akhlat. Akhlat are the liquids that you can see the components of our body. Can everyone confirm that sound was fine in the first part, or was it the same problem with everyone? Okay. Can we read the section on the colors of eyes? I think we missed it. Yeah, okay, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do the colors of the eyes also, inshallah. Yeah. So what we're going to do today, inshallah, we will be doing a long session with 1 break, like a short break. We have to catch up, inshallah. We have done almost half of the semester, the first semester. Okay, so there is another several lectures to complete the first semester. And the second semester that you will be doing, that is practical semester related to the remedies, herbal remedies, how to prepare the oils, how to prepare the remedies, how to choose the herbs and etc. Okay, so strange. So did we miss the eyes, mizaj of colors of the eyes? ذكر ألوان العين إذا الجليديات والبيضية أجسامها صغيرة مضيئة مكانها نات وفيها نور صافي القوام مشرق كثير. Okay, strange. Yeah, we'll do it definitely today, right now, inshallah. Now let's go back to the a'dha, the organs. It's not as big chapter. After that, we'll do the arwah after a short break, and at the end we'll catch up with the eyes, the colors of the eyes, inshallah. قال ابن سينا رحمه الله ونفعنا بعلومه وبركاته وبكم آمين. الرابع من الأمور الطبيعية وهو الأعضاء. So it is the fourth. If you remember, in the right beginning, we said that herbal medicine that we're going to study this year, I mean, generally, so it is split into two categories. First is theoretical and the second is practical. And the theoretical side in itself is split into three. The first is related to the tabi'iyat, natural things, which we are still studying. So there are 7 natural things, and today we're going to do the fourth one. Okay, after that, 3 more left or 2 more left. So anyway, and then daruriyat, okay, so the things which are necessary to the human. So it is something that's surrounding us, some conditions which is non-detachable from human. And we said that it is 6 categories that we're going to study. And third is illness, okay, so the cause of the illness and its symptoms and its treatment, etc. So that is 3 categories or 3 parts of the practical side or theoretical side of herbal medicine. So let's discuss the fourth part of the theoretical side or the tabi'iyah, sorry. أصول أعضاء الجسوم 4 وغيرها منها ترى مفرعة فواحد من هذه هي الكبد وهي تقوم بالغذاء للجسد والقلب يغذو الجسم بالحياة لولاه كان الجسم كالنبات وهو لحي الجسم مثل العنصر ينفذ ما ينفذه في الأبهر إن الدماغ بالنخاع والعصب لحفظ نار القلب إن التهب ألا يلتهب إن التهب that's that ومنها يحرك المفاصل أو تحرك المفاصل والأنثيان وآلة التناسل. Okay, so إلى آخره. The main organs of the human, actual organs for the human is 3. Okay, so he is saying 4. That fourth one, it is not related to the health, according to the ancient herbal medicine that we study. Okay, so anyway, overall, including everything, there are 4 main organs in the human of the body of the human. Okay, everything else are equipment of the 4 main organs. Okay, so the first 3 are, it is heart and then liver and brain. These are the main organs of the human. Okay, and then you can see he mentions testicles, that is in terms of living descendants, for the descendants. Inshallah, he will explain it. Okay, and everything else is only equipment of the same main organs. Okay, so that's why do you remember it's very famous statement that contemporary medicine only deals with the symptoms, but the ancient medicine deals with the actual problem. So I think that is more or less very accurate statement, I would say. It may not be the case all the time, but it's in most of the case, it is very accurate statement. Why? So because now let's track, we can say track the organs back to its initial, the default status. So for example, liver is the main organ, one of three main organs, the liver, okay? And we have list of other organs which are classed as equipments of the liver, okay? It is starting from the teeth and lips and tongue and throat. Because what is the duty of the liver? Liver produces fuel for the body, okay? So means liver is digestion system. It is the king of digestion system. And everything, whatever we call as, part of digestion system, we say it is the equipment of the liver. Okay. So for example, when I pick up a meat to eat, so this meat should fall into my liver, and my liver converts it into the fuel for my body. Okay, but then if you put the meat in my liver right now, my liver will be unable to digest it. Okay, so what do we need then? We need equipments. First, crushing, okay, teeth, okay, as well as we need, for example, lips and tongue, just to make sure that it's not poisonous, okay, because we don't want to damage the liver. So tongue, by testing it, it will send order to the brain that it is actually healthy. It is not going to destroy or damage my liver. So after chewing it, okay, I am making it into small pieces. But even if I pick up after chewing it, if I take it out and put it into my stomach, into my liver will be unable to digest it and to convert it into the fuel. There are further procedures have to be applied. The rest of the procedures will be applied in my stomach and further in the intestines, okay? And then it falls after all of that crushing and converting into small pieces and into the suitable, you can say, raw material, which could be digested by my liver. And liver transforms this meat into a fuel for my body. Okay, so from here we know that liver uses list of organs in my body, and all of that belong to the liver. On the same way, heart is responsible to heat up this fuel, because if you just pick up the fuel, blood, which is produced by my liver, and if you pour it, for example, into an organ, there could be some benefit, but it will damage the organ. But we need to control its heat, which will be done by heart. Okay, so and then it squeezes and sends it. It squeezes and sends it, you can say, in very balanced way, according to the need. So portion and the type of the bloods, it will be determined in my heart, and my heart will take care of that. So it does not send more blood, for example, to the brain, because heart knows that brain needs to be kept cold. If heart will send big quantity of blood to my brain, okay, so what happens? For example, do you know the glass? If you pour a lot of hot water into the glass, what happens? Glass blasts, destroys, breaks. Understand? So that's how, if my heart sends more than needed quantity to my brain, okay, so then the veins will be, capillaries will be unable to hold it, to maintain it, because of its extra heat, okay, but not because of quantity, because you know, the capillaries are very strong. Okay, so if you just pick up these capillaries, you can hold so many kgs or sometimes so many tons of weight, rock, for example. You can lift it by the capillaries, which is in here. But the heat, which should not exist in here, that blasts the capillaries and death will occur. Okay, so that is quite important. So from here we know that, so overall, we have 4 main organs. 3 for the human, for the individual to stay alive and to function, and 1 more to leave descendants. So that's why testicles are not to keep my life going. Okay, so that's why if you find some of the, for example, Farabi, okay, Abu Nasr al-Farabi radiallahu anhu says the main organs are 3. Do not be confused. They are not disagreeing. Okay, but main organs for what? To maintain the life of individual. Yes, it is 3. But to maintain the life of mankind, it is 4. Okay, so that is, you can say, so based on that, now you can work out which organ is equivalent of which main organ. Okay, so all of the secondary organs will end up of being equivalent of one of the main organs. Did you understand? So that is quite important. Okay, so that is quite important. So coming back to that point in which people say, and even some of our friends, I think it's one of the ladies here in the very first lecture, who said that contemporary medicine cures the symptoms, deals with the symptoms, but the herbal medicine, what we're doing, it deals with the actual problem. I say that is more or less accurate. Why? Now, based on what I have already presented now, just take this one. Let's suppose, so from here, now you know that if you have a problem in your stomach, so the main reason will be in your liver, because liver is not an organ that uses the stomach, but liver maintains its equipment also. Understand? So for example, you have your hands, you use them, but you maintain them also. You maintain your hands on the way that it will be useful for you. Understand? So it works on both ways. On the same way, liver uses the stomach, but also liver is responsible to maintain the stomach on the level in which stomach can carry on providing the service as it requested for the liver. Okay, so from here we know that any problem in the digestion system, so the actual reason will be in the liver. Okay, so you have to, straight away, you have to work out. For example, your patient comes to you saying, yeah, you know, Hakim Saab, I have headache. Okay, so straight away you have to find out. So if he complains about the main organ, so there is no stress. Now you know where is the problem. But if he complains about the pain, or you can say dysfunction in the secondary organs, straight away track it back to the main organ. Find what is the link, okay, and what is causing it. Okay, so that is quite important. Okay, anyway, Ibn Sina says, Usulu a'dha'i al-jusumi arba'a. The main foundations. Asl means foundation, pillar, or the main substance, or the main foundation of the organs of the body is 4. The main organs, so all of the organs, the foundation of all of the organs will come back to be 4. وغيرها منها ترى مفرعة. And any other organs besides these 4 anything else will be just branch or equipment or supporting organ for these main four. Okay. فواحد من هذه هي الكبد. So one of the four main organs are كبد, liver. وهي تقوم بالغذاء للجسد. And the function of the liver is to provide fuel or غذاء, food for the body, for the human body. والقلب يغذو الجسم بالحياة. And the heart is source of the food, or it is provider of the life for the body. I will comment on it. لولاه كان الجسم كالنبات. If there would not be heart of a human would be as one of the plants. Maybe some of experts of botany, I don't know what do they call this subject, you know, the science of plants, botanics, I think. So they may disagree with us. Okay, so for example, they may say that even plants have heart. Of course, for example, you know these mushrooms. Okay, so mushrooms have heart. Okay, feeling, organs, etc., reactions. So and even there is big disagreement if mushrooms have to be classed as a plant or if it has to be classed as an animal. I'm aware of that. Ibn Sina is not talking about that, but beside mushroom and besides these complicated plants, extra complicated plants, which is standing between the animal world and plant world. So in between we have several plants. So everything else of the plant world, so they do not have heart as such, as we explain, as we're talking here. Okay. So what is the function of the heart? So he says يغذو الجسم بالحياة. It feeds the body with the life. Okay, so what does that mean? You know, we have something called الحرارة الطبيعية. Okay, الحرارة الطبيعية, it is natural heat of the body. So unnatural heat is obviously the source of illness. Okay, so what is the unnatural heat? So it is the heat which is not produced by heart, or which is produced by heart but by ill substances eating. For example, you eat poison, some of the hot poisons. Okay, so that may cause the heat, unnatural heat inside of your body by itself independently, or by being digested and sent through the heart. Okay, so both are unnatural heat. So unnatural heat is all the time illness. Okay, sometimes it could be actually reason for the death also. Okay, so but then what's the meaning of natural heat? Isn't it that blood keeps the body with the heat, with the temperature? We say blood in itself cannot produce heat, but heat is always produced by the heart. And even the liver, which is second in the entire body, number two in terms of its heat, it gains its heat from the heart. Okay, so for example, we have this illness called istisqa. Istisqa is when body will be filled with the liquids. Person will start becoming large, and by eating anything, so he will be. So even when he moves, you can hear the voice of the water inside of the body. Okay, so that's istisqa. The reason of the istisqa is cold liver. So heating of the liver is the duty of the heart. But if heart falls cold, it's quite difficult to heat it up. And normally after heart falling into some certain level of coldness, after that is only few days remaining to live. Okay, but what about this istisqa, liver falling cold? But again, as I'm, so it does not mean that heart can heat up any degree of cold in the liver. Again, the liver, if it falls into some certain level of cold, after that you cannot heat it up, but you can only bear the illness. You will have a bit longer than the heart, you know, in terms of living, but then that is done, okay, in terms of heating up the liver. You cannot do it. Okay, so for example, now they're replacing the liver. Will it work or not? So time will show. Time will show. Just because they have started transplanting the liver very recently. Okay, recently means a couple of decades. Okay, but for these type of major things, transplantation of the organs, we need maybe a couple of centuries before we can confirm or reject it, because just a couple of decades may not be sufficient. Okay, so the source of the natural heat is all the time heart. And any heat which is produced in any other organ, that is symptom of illness. Okay, sometimes it could be hot brain, okay, or hot lungs. Okay, so that lung also provides heat for the entire body. Why? Because do you know blood which flows into your lung, that will carry the heat of the lung to spread it all over the body, but that is unnatural heat. Why? Because it is produced not in the heart, but it is produced in the lungs, ill lungs. Okay, so that unnatural heat will make the rest of the body ill. Okay, so you have to fight straight away. You have to cut off the connection of the liver with the rest of the body. There are some certain remedies. You have to surround it, and you have to kill the heat inside of the liver. But if it gets spread, then you have to fight all over the body. You know? That is going to be a bit difficult. It's not something which is not doable. It is doable, but it will take a bit more time and more remedy. Okay, so you know, for example, they say in our herbal medicine we do not have side effects. That is not very accurate. We do have side effects. Okay, sometimes, most of the time, it's not as heavy as chemicals, but sometimes could be equally heavy, especially when you use minerals. Okay, so that's why you have to try to reduce the number of different herbs and remedies that you use. So that's why it's better all the time to surround the area and to kill the illness inside there. Okay, just to get rid of the heat in the lungs, by not letting it going out. Okay, all over the body. Okay. Why everyone is so silent? Is it because you cannot hear my voice? No. Or is it because everyone is understanding, or is it because no one is understanding? No, it is informative, but the most important thing, if everyone is understanding. Okay, but anyway, it will be uploaded so they can come back and listen to it again. Look, I'm telling you, I'm not joking. What we are discussing these days, since we have started, okay, until we finish this semester, keep in your mind that makes you Ibn Sina, and not what we're going to do in the third or fourth semester. You know about the illness. Take my word, please. Okay, take my word. It's very important, because I've been teaching the herbal medicine for quite a while, actually. The first time I started teaching, I was about 16 years old. Okay, and everyone, when they come, this first thing they ask me, how to diagnose the illness, what shall I do, how to read the pulse. Look, it is just tinky-winky things, you know, reading the pulse and diagnosing. If you do not have the knowledge of these, what we are discussing right now, forget about. Even if you will be expert of pulse reading, but without having the knowledge of tabi'iyat and daruriyat, you cannot do anything. You'll be just a disabled person. Okay, so that's quite important. Okay. Yeah, so in terms of the degrees of the, we are going to do, okay, there are certain principles determining the level of the heat in your remedy. Okay, so for example, let's suppose that you bring black pepper, which is heat, the maximum heat, 4th degree in the dryness and 4th degree in the heat. Okay, and then you bring balila, 2nd degree in cold. Okay, and then you bring oil, or let's say carrier, and the carrier for you will be unactivated, desactivated or unactivated honey. Okay, and honey, even if it is not active, the active honey is normally 2nd or 3rd degree in heat, but non-active honey does not become cold. Okay, some say it's mortadel, but it never mortadel, but it will fall into the level of 1st degree of end of 1st degree of heat, but dryness will remain. So how does it work? So now you have one herb, 4th degree heat, one herb, 2nd degree cold, one herb, one degree of heat. So we do have formulas by which you can calculate the strength of your remedy. Okay, so it will end up of being something about end of 2nd degree of heat. This what I have described. Okay, so it will be something like that. Yeah, we do have accurate formulas, okay, in terms of weighing the heat and etc. Okay, so in specializing, so in the second semester you will learn some of it, but in the specialty course, which is going to be after when you complete these 3 years, in that you learn all of that other things related to the herbal remedies. So Ibn Sina says, وَالْقَلْبُ يَغْذُو الْجِسْمَ بِالْحَيَاةِ. The heart feeds the body, provides the body with the life. لَوْلَاهُ كَانَ الْجِسْمُ كَالنَّبَاتِ. If there would not be heart, the body of a human would be, or body of the animal would be as grass, as plant. وهو لحي الجسم مثل العنصر ينفذ ما ينفذه في الأبهر. The heart for the body is as essence, or unsur is the main element, so it lets through the life that it lets through the blood, so it sends or it lets through the life into the body through fil abhuri, through the main artery. Okay, so if you know the people who know the anatomy, or maybe you can find the anatomy of the heart. Okay, so there is one big thick vein is sticking out, coming out of the heart. That's what we call abhur. Okay, so if you remember, they have this hadith. Obviously they say that it's authentic, but Allah knows, in my own understanding this hadith cannot be authentic. But anyway, hadith, as far as I remember, was it in Bukhari or Muslim? Okay, so they say that Rasulullah said, ما زلت أجد طعم السم إلى أن كان وقت قطع أبهري أو كما قال. Okay, so it means I kept on finding the taste of the poison which I was fed by that lady in Khaybar, well, according to what they say. So since then I was finding its taste in my mouth until now, when that poison has blasted or blown up my abhur. So that abhur, that, you know, the thing. Yeah, okay, aorta, yes. Aorta artery, yes. The main thick one, okay, which sticks out. I mean, which, the main artery, yes. If the liver is heated up too quickly, does this affect the other humors? Heating up the liver very quickly. So you are talking about diamond then, using ruby or something, isn't it? So because heating up the liver very quickly, either it will be because of illness. Okay, let's say that there will be hot inflammation, okay, of any of, let's say, of the lung. So liver will be heat up straight away. Okay, so that's illness. So will that get rid of the soda? Sometimes it may, yes. So for example, do you know, it's between us, don't say it to anyone, okay? Sometimes we, in our medicine, in Islamic herbal medicine, we use tinky winky style. What do? We fight against the illness by another illness. Okay, how? Sometimes remedies will not work, so we deliberately cause opposite illness which fights back against that illness. Okay, so yeah, so because of that, for example, hot inflammation of the liver sometimes can fight against the sauda in surrounding areas. Yes, but for that you have to be very high, very well off herbalist. Junior herbalists, they are not allowed to use this tinky winky style, which I have explained. But you have to follow the standard way of fighting against the illness by remedies. Okay, but so that's one reason of quick heating up the liver quickly, or another, you can use the minerals to heat up the liver. Extra heat for the liver is illness also. Okay, then it will dry up. Okay, so for example, gangrene may start also because extra heat causes dryness. Liver has to stay wet all the time. Okay, so question is important but dangerous also. No, it does not. It does not increase the soda because it's hot, isn't it? So can heat increase the soda in the body? Yes, extra heat, because extra heat causes cold, isn't it? Okay, so, but while heat is in the body, it does not increase the soda. But after heating the, being extra amount of heat, then your body falls cold. Then soda overtakes the body. Okay, soda dominates on your body, and then that may cause different type of canceric growths also, yes. إن الدماغ بالنخاع والعصب يحفظ نار القلب ألا تلتهب. In the actual text it should be يحفظ نار القلب إن التهب. Yeah, of course. Burnt soda, again, burnt blood also. But it's not because of that. It's not because of that. But extra heat in itself makes the body to fall cold. Okay, so that's why. For example, we say that when it is very, for example, in the winter, we say you should not be wearing very thick clothes. You should leave the body to carry on producing heat, because extra heat makes the body to fall cold. You understand? So that's quite important. إن الدماغ بالنخاع والعصب. So the brain, it is the third main organ, because we already spoke briefly, not in detail, very briefly, about liver and about heart. After completing 3 years, if you will follow the route of Hakim and not the Saydalani herbalist, but if you want to be Tabib, Hakim, then we will speak about each of the organs in very depth, in very detail. Okay, so it is very brief introduction to the topic. So we spoke about the liver and heart, and now he's speaking about dimagh, brain. My question to you guys, if you would have a chance of spending one day with Ibn Sina himself, what would you ask him? Okay, so while you are answering, I will carry on, and after you will answer, I will make my own comment, inshallah. So brain by nukha and asab. So asab is nerves. Okay, so it means nerves are the secondary organs which support the brain. Okay, and nukha is what do they call bone marrow. Yeah, okay, so that is nukha. Okay, that liquid which is inside of the both of bones as well as the nerves. Do you know that liquid which is inside of the bones? Most of the or some of the herbalists, they say that it is equipment of the brain, but we have another opinion among herbalists. They say it is equipment of the liver. Okay, so inshallah we'll talk about it when we'll be doing the specialist Hakim. So what does it do? يحفظ النار القلب إن التهب. So one of the duties of the nerves and brain is to control the heat of the heart. Okay, because as we know, the source of the cold is brain. Nukha is that liquid which is in the nerves, and also nukha shawki, of course, it is also part of the equipment of the brain. So anything, they call it gray liquid. Okay, so for example, now they have discovered that it is responsible for all of that spying for the brain. Okay, so finding the illnesses and you can say reporting what's happening in the body to the brain. Okay, so all of that is included into it. Okay, and not only this liquid, which is spinal cord, as you are mentioning, and which not also the liquid which is in the nerves, but also the bone marrow, which is inside of the bones. Okay, as I said, there are a big number of herbalists, Muslim herbalists. They said that it is equipment of the brain, but we have another opinion in which they say that it's not equipment of the brain, but it's equipment of the liver. Okay, and as far as I know, the modern scientists, they are giving big support to the second opinion. They even say that when liver will be unable to produce a blood, so then this bone marrow, I mean, what is inside of the bone, that will start replacing the liver. So if that is 100% confirmed, so then second group of our herbalists, they have got the point correct. But again, there are some other details which supports the first group. Inshallah, we'll speak about it when we will be specializing in the hikmah. Okay. يحفظ نار القلب إن التهب. So anyway, so because the source of the cold is in the brain, okay, so if you remove the cold from the brain, so then the heat of the heart will carry on increasing until it kills the body. Okay, it kills the person. So means only the heat in the body is harmful, but it has to be controlled. It has to be under control. Okay, so then what do we need for that? We need a brain. So even though he's mentioning that it is responsible to control the heat in the body, so he does not mean that it's only the duty. Okay, inshallah, he will explain it again. But anyway, it is one of the duties of the brain and nerves. Okay, so that's why we know that one of the cold organs in the body is bones, because as we have learned, So it's somehow related to the brain and also nerves. Okay, it is responsible to control the heat which is coming from the heart. Okay, so that is quite important. ومنهما يحرك المفاصل ومنهما يحرك المفاصل, and by them too, okay, by the equipments. So brain, by its equipments, it will be moving the joints. So it will be moving the fingers and the body. Okay, so it is another duty of the brain. والأنثيان وآلة التناسل. That is the fourth main organ. Okay, so fourth main organ is testicles and genitals. آلة التناسل. آلة means equipment. تناسل means reproduction, descendants, producing descendants. Okay, so as we said, the fourth main organ is not for the individual life, but for the overall life, or otherwise it should not be considered to be main organ for individual. So, for example, they apply castration, or what do they call, to the animal. Okay, so and the animals can perfectly live, so means from there we know that it does not affect on the body. It is important. Why? Because there will be some illnesses. Okay, I'm not really sure what a contemporary medicine would say about it. So it is independent organ which may get engaged into the body by some error, or it's by itself it cannot cause illness inside of the body. Okay, so that is something strange. تحفظ في توليدها الأنواع فإن في فنائها انقطاعا. So the genitals and the testicles and the equipments of reproduction, it reproduces the mankind, because if it will disappear or if it will be damaged, so the mankind will stop existing. Okay, so that is about that one. واللحم والشحم وأصناف الغدد فإنها لهذه مجرى العدد والعظم والغشاء والرباط دعائم للجسم واحتياط لكي يتم الشكل والقوام وللأصول كلها خدام أو خدام والظفر في الأطراف للمعونة والشعر للفضلات والزينة. That is the end of it. So واللحم والشحم. So now we have understood the main organs, but we have a lot of other organs in the body. Okay, for example, we have skin, we have muscles and fat, etc. So he says واللحم, the flesh and fat and types of glands, غدد, types of different glands. So all of them is فإنها لهذه مجرى العدد. So it is equipments for these main four organs. Okay, so based on this, your new assignment should be, you have to guess, you have to work out, you have to analyze by yourself what is the relationship between the main four organs and the rest of the organs. Okay, so for example, today I did already explain that entire digestion system, including the kidneys and penis and bladder. So all of that is, you can say, from one side, genital equipment of the liver. Okay, just to get rid of the waste. Okay, in the waste which is caused in transformation of the. And so now you have to work out. Now you know four main organs. Now you have to work out the relationship between the four main organs and the rest of the body, including, for example, flesh and fat and the rest, everything in the body. Okay, so all of that, you have to be able to connect all of that with four main organs. Okay, and that is your new assignment, but do not make it very big. Maximum of 500 words, and you have to very briefly explain why do you think that this specific secondary organ is equipment of the main organ, very briefly. والعظم والغشاء والرباط. Al-azm is bone. Al-ghisha is that curtain, fleshy curtain, which is surround. For example, we have this, do you know, pleurisy? Do you know this? For example, we have heart, okay, and we have lungs. Both are in the same place. Why it does not mix up with each other? Because there is some certain flesh curtain which is separating. Okay, so that is ghisha. What ribat? Ribat, it is some type of very tough flesh which keeps the joints together. Okay, so even when you boil it, it remains as like a silicon white. Okay, so that is ribat, which keeps the joints together. Okay, so that is ribat. So what is the duty of all of that? So he says, da'aimun lil jismi. It is support for the body, just to stand. Wahtiyatu, and it is just to keep protected, to keep the body protected. To do what? So he says, لِكَيْ يَتِمَّ الشَّكْلُ وَالْقِوَامُ. So these organs will keep the shape complete. يَتِمَّ الشَّكْل, shape, وَالْقِوَام, and to stand, to keep, to support you, for example, walking and moving. وَلِلْأُصُولِ كُلِّهَا خُدَّامُ. So all of the secondary organs, all of them are support and equipment for the main usul, the main four organs. Usul in here, the fundamental organs, the main organs. والظفر في الأطراف للمعونة, and the nails which are in the fingers and toes, it is للمعونة as support also. Okay, so for example, let's suppose that you are scratching. So if it would be only with the flesh, you desire, it provokes even more itchiness. Okay, but if it is with, for example, nails, so that's what he's trying to say. So the nails are, as you can say, support, or for example, when you're fighting. Okay, so that is support. وَالشَّعْرُ لِلْفَضَلَاتِ وَالزِّينَةِ, and the duty of the hairs. So what hairs is about? So Ibn Sina says it is waste of the body. Okay, so for example, one of the waste is urine. Okay, or for example, sweating. Okay, so all of that is waste, isn't it? Body is pushing it out of itself. Okay, and also the hairs which grow, it is also waste. Okay, so for example, body gets rid of this waste and just throws it out. And main, you can say, component of the hairs, it is sauda. Wazina, and also another duty of the hairs is beauty. Okay, so that was very brief introduction to the fourth type of the tabi'iyat, natural things. So it is a'dha, organs. So a'dha, for example, in Kitab al-Qanun, it is quite big chapter. It's very important. So he went into very depth. But for us, because we are beginners, okay, so we are learning. It is our first book, so we do not go that far. Okay, so let's look into what would you say. How may we achieve the perfect state of health for lifetime? Okay, good one. How do we lead a balanced life in this time of age? I don't think Ibn Sina will be able to answer to the second question, because he has to spend some time learning, because all of this pollution and chemicals, he needs to know what is the effect of it before he will give you answer how to prevent its negative impact, isn't it? Okay, I would ask him, what ways can we keep the hummus in balance? That's quite important. Again, I don't think, unless if Ibn Sina was born and spent his entire life in our century. because then you will be aware of the pollution and chemical waste and all the impact of that on your body, or without knowing it. So just bringing the advice of Ibn Sina from the 10th century and applying it now, it may not work. If you know what time, I would ask him what is the contemporary medicine. Good one. Contemporary medicine. It needs long, you can say, analysis, I think. But if I would meet him, I would ask him, because it's only one day. Okay, so I would ask him to teach me the duty, the role of the main organs. Okay, so that's quite important. Inshallah, we will go for a very short break, about 10 minutes maximum. That's a really good point, Hannah. Lovely question. Perfect. After a short break, we will take another chapter, so that is Arwah. Okay, because we are falling a bit behind, so just to catch up. Okay, and anyone who is busy, they're free to go. They can watch the lecture afterward, but we'll carry on. Okay, and after that, inshallah, very briefly, we'll go back to the eye condition for the mizaj. Okay, so short break, please. Okay, everyone, welcome back. So let's go back to the text, please. Al-Arwah. So what do we know about Arwah? Ruh, we all know Ruh means in Arabic language soul. Okay, so but in here, in the herbal term, Ruh does not mean the soul of a human as such, as we understand. But Ruh is substance. Okay, but so it is finest steam, okay, in the organ. It is actually the thing which causes the acts. After this, we are going to. Can everyone hear? Can everyone hear me? If okay. So after the arwah, so arwah, it is the fifth in the fifth of seven types of the tabi'iyat, if you remember. So the sixth is going to be quwa. Okay, so arwah and quwa are very closely linked to each other. Okay, so when you understand quwa, you will understand arwah also. In two words, before going to the actual text, arwah, ruh is steam, very fine steam, in the organs. So for example, each organ, regardless if it is main organ or secondary equipment organ, it has got its own ruh. For example, stomach has got its own ruh. Okay, and that ruh, several ruh, it's not only one. So each ruh is responsible for some certain duty. The duty is called quwa. We'll learn about the quwa next week, inshallah. So what does this ruh do? So ruh is the actual essence. It's actual, you can say, main substance and main essence of the organ. Okay, so for example, the liver is responsible to digest. Okay, so this order, you know, the control of digestion, all of that is controlled by this ruh. Ruh is very fine steam. It's quite important. It's quite important to understand that ruh, maybe the best example of the ruh is the last, you can say, and the most strongest power in the body. Okay, let's suppose that right now, in the practical term, I have got problem in my stomach. So the flesh and the matter of the stomach will be fighting against the illness. And after that, I will give remedy, and this flesh will be using that remedy to fight against the illness. Okay, but if my stomach will fail in fighting against the illness, the last chance is given to the ruh. Ruh will get engaged into the battle. After ruh getting engaged to the battle, there is no third option. Either you perfectly get cured or either you die in very short time, the matter of 2-3 days. Okay, so ruh is general, if the example is understandable. So the stomach is soldiers and entire army, and ruh is general. Okay, so ruh will get engaged into the battle at the end. So ruh will be controlling, okay, the stomach. So from here we understand that ruh is the most important element of each organ. And sometimes ruh can get muddy, smoky. Okay, because we are saying that ruh is very fine steam in the organ, isn't it? So it means that sometimes it will get muddy, okay, dirty. And we do have some certain remedies which you have to feed yourself, so that remedy will clean up the smoke and it will extract it, take it out of the ruh. Okay, so that is the ruh. I hope everyone understood the meaning of ruh and what is it for. But anyway, inshallah, next week you will understand it even better, because ruh is understood by its duty, quwa. Because what ruh does, ruh applies or performs some certain duties. So by understanding the duties, you will understand what ruh is in even better and more clearer way. So Ibn Sina says, الخامس من الأمور الطبيعية. Of course. I mean, the ruh, it will carry on restoring itself. Okay, because throughout the life, okay, so it will carry on restoring itself for several times, but that is only if the actual organ is healthy. Okay, if organ is unhealthy, ruh cannot restore itself. Okay, but we need remedy to clean it up. So, for example, according to our medicine, you know, organ donation, one of the main reasons for us not to accept the organ donation could be because of the arwah. Inshallah, we'll discuss it on its right time. Excuse me, please. I just brought some tea. There is hadith, fabricated hadith. They say, "Ashayu, ashayu khumrul mu'min." Okay, so it means the tea is the wine of the believer. Okay, so. والروح تنقسم للطبيعي من البخار الطيب النقي والذي في القلب قد ينقي وهو الذي به الحياة تبقى قد ينقى أو ينقى وهو الذي به الحياة تبقى وللذي بجملة الدماغ أو يحمله الدماغ وفي الغشاء جنسه يصاغ وأكملت أنواعه أو أكملت أنواعه البطون أو البطون فالحس والرأي به يكون وكل روح فلها قواها فليس يختص بما سواها or بها سواها. Both are fine. So ruh are several categories. The first one is the one which is called tabi'i. Obviously, as I said, without understanding the quwa, so if it would be my choice, first I would teach the quwa, duties, and then I would teach the arwah, because after understanding the duties, then you understand the arwah, because these duties are performed by quwa, you can say not duties, but engines maybe, or something between, yeah. And then you can understand the arwah in better way. So what is this arwah? So he says, min al-bukhar al-tayyib al-naqi. So the actual arwah, it's not that soul that we think, but it is very fine, very clean, very clear steam. Bukhar is steam. وَلِلَّذِي فِي الْقَلْبِ قَدْ يُنَقَّى. And another type of the ruh is something which is in the heart, okay, which will be cleaned in the heart. وَهُوَ الَّذِي بِهِ الْحَيَاةُ تَبْقَى. Obviously, in here, what he's trying to say, the arwah, in our understanding, he's commenting linguistically. when we say ruh, there are two meanings for the ruh. One is soul, which is in the heart all the time. Okay, so obviously it is you can say some controversial issue. And the second is natural one. Okay, if you take it very directly, it's a bit problematic. Some of the scholars say that Ibn Sina in here is talking about that 7 drops of ruh, 7 drops of steam, which is in the heart. Moving, if that moves just slightly, person falls unconscious, and if it just totally leaves the heart, so person just dies. So anyway, وَلِلَّذِي يَحْمِلُهُ الدِّمَاغُ وَفِي الْغِشَاءِ جِنْسُهُ يُصَارُ. And another type of ruh, it is something which is in the heart, in the brain, so that is created inside of the containers of the brain. I will comment on it now, only translation. وَأَكْمَلَتْ أَنْوَاعَهُ الْبُطُونُ. That is the correct way. So the number of the arwah which is in the brain, so it is in each single part of the brain there is nothing, because according to our herbal medicine we have 3 containers in the brain. Okay, so one is behind and one is top and one is in front. Okay, inshallah we'll talk about it. So means in the brain we have 3 main arwah. فَالْحِسُّ وَالرَّأْيُ بِهِ يَكُونُ. So when you think or when you feel, okay, or when you sense, all of these duties are performed by the arwah, which is in the brain. 3 main arwah. Okay, so according to this definition, flesh, okay, or other, you can say, matters which is in the brain, it is only equipments of the main arwah, and the actual duty of the brain, which is thinking, contemplating, feeling, sensing, all of that is performed by these 3 types of arwah, which uses the matters which is in the brain, capillaries and the flesh and everything else, as its equipments. فَالْحِسُّ, so sensing, وَالرَّأْيُ, and contemplating, بِهِ يَكُونُ, it will be performed by the arwah. وَكُلُّ رُوحٍ فَلَهَا قُوَاهَا. Each ruh has got its own engine, quwa, its own duty or engine. فَلَيْسَ يَخْتَصُّ بِهَا سِوَاهَا. So that duty cannot be performed by any other. For example, the ruh which is in the heart cannot perform the duty of the ruh which is in the brain. Okay, so that's what he's trying to say. So anyway, just to summarize, so ruh that we believe, I mean, that we talk about in the herbal medicine, it is very fine, very clean steam all over the body. Okay, it is the generals, in our example, if you remember, of army, and each army is responsible to do something. For example, the army of the stomach is responsible to digest. Okay, and general will be controlling that, and that general, in our example, that what ruh is. Okay, so now, but how many types of arwah that we have? So we say the number of arwah or types of arwah is exactly on the same number of duties. Inshallah, forces, yeah, maybe ruh, force, maybe that is maybe more accurate translation. Ruh to be translated as force. But we have quwa also. So anyway, next week when we'll discuss about the quwa, then you can understand. Okay, but anyway, that is the overall and very brief understanding of the arwah all over the body. Okay, now if you have any question, about arwah, just ask me, or otherwise we will go back to do the translation and discussion about the colors of the eyes and its mizaj. Yeah, of course, the arwah, one of the arwah. So there are several types of arwah. So, for example, the illness which happens in the stomach, so that will not be cured by the ruh of the stomach, but that will be cured by the ruh of the liver. Okay, yes, we do have that also. So anything that happens in your body controlled by ruh. For example, when you eat, okay, so after eating, when you chew, okay, so it will be digested. After digestion, it should be pushed down towards your liver. So pushing is the duty of one of the arwah. Okay, so everything in the body is controlled by arwah. Okay, so that is the thing, yeah. Okay, anyway, now if everyone can go back to the page number 17. In your copy, it's the page number 8. Page number 8 or 17 in two different copies. Sorry, push it off. Okay, yes. So Ibn Sina says, الذكر ألوان العين. إذا الجليديات والبيضية أجسامها صغيرة مضيئة مكانها نات وفيها نور صافي القوام مشرق كثير فإن عين هذه زرقاء وإن ضد هذه كحلاء وإن مزجت سبب الكحولة بسبب الزرقة فالشهولة وإن تقل الروح كان الأشهل أو كثرت في العين كان الأشعل. So that is the text. So by looking at the eyes, can you work out the mizaj of the person? Obviously, yes. And keep in your mind, as I said before, so the condition of the environment, you have to be aware, as well as the quality of the tribe from which your patient is, you have to consider that also. So for example, let's suppose that you see this person, blonde person, blue eyes. So you cannot say because his eyes are blue, so means his mizaj is cold. You cannot say that because it's very possible that he is from the tribe and all of them have blue eyes. Understand? So that's why you have to consider all of the surrounding conditions before you will diagnose your patient by his mizaj. I mean, by looking at the color of his eyes and deciding his mizaj. Okay, so that's quite important. Okay, now, just generally speaking, dark eyes, okay, all the time, or dark eyes means hot mizaj. Okay, light eye, bright eye color. Okay, so that means cold. But mixed of it, you have to understand. If it is mixed, So is it more inclined towards being bright eye color? So then it is inclined to be cold. Or is it more inclined towards the darkness in eye color? Okay, so that is quite important. And another aspect of reading the eye of a person is you need to look into the size of that blackness. Okay, so you know the center of the eye. So if that is very wide, so that means that person has got hot mizaj, or otherwise it's going to be cold mizaj, tight and sticking out. Okay, so that is the main, we can say, quality to understand the mizaj, to read the mizaj. Now, in the past centuries, when Ibn Sina used to live, okay, they used to believe that the eye actually has got 4 levels. Okay, so 4 levels, 4 curtains holding 3 types of liquids. Okay, so that is quite important. So they say, so for example, he's going to give us the terminologies, isn't it? So Jalidiyya is the liquid which is in the middle, and Baydiyya, it is the liquid which is on the top. Okay, so if you put it like that, so these are the levels of the liquids in the eye. So there will be 4, we can say, curtains, okay, holding 3 category of 3 level of liquids. Okay, so the one which is in the middle, it is called Jalidiyya, and the one which is on the top, okay, so that is called Baydiyya. Okay, so that is very brief terminologies. Now let's go to the translation. إذا الجليديات والبيضية أجسامها صغيرة مضيئة. So if this Jalidiyya, you know, the liquid in the middle, and Baydiyya, which is in the top. Okay, so when so he says أجسامها صغيرة مضيئة. So if it is very tight, okay, and bright, مكانها ناتٍ, and it is sticking out of the eye. So how it is? It's like an oval. Okay, so if you look from the side, the eye is oval. So in the middle, if it is sticking out because of its tightness, so it's sticking out. So that's what he's talking about. وَفِيهَا نُورٌ, and there is light because of its sticking out. So it causes that very clear light. صَافِ الْقِوَامِ, so it's very, very clear, so you can see through. Okay. مُشْرِقٌ كَثِيرٌ, and very bright. Okay, so people with blue eyes, look at their eyes, so you can see through their eyes. فَإِنَّ عَيْنَ هَذِهِ زَرْقَى. So this is the description of blue eye, which means cold mizaj. وَإِنَّ ضِدَّ هَذِهِ كَحْلَاءُ, and opposite of that is كَحْلَاء. Okay, أكحل or اللون الكحلي. اللون الكحلي generally in contemporary Arabic language, it refers to very dark blue color. Okay, but اللون الأكحل, which is in the ancient Arabic language, so that refers to very dark black. Okay, very dark black eye color. Okay, so dark black color. Normally, so it's not, you know, there is blackness, there is black color of gray, but there is another black which is between red and brown. Okay, so اللون الكحلي in the past, it was referring to the second category of black. Okay, so that is the difference. So anyway, so very dark black eye color means the hot mizaj. Okay, as well as the opposite of the previous ones. Okay, so do you know that that black color will be wide also, not very tight as it is in the cold, because coldness causes tightness of the eye and it squeezes it, so it just sticks out. So that is because of cold mizaj. But opposite of that, dark eye color, it will be wide and not sticking out, but it will be just in the same level of oval shape of the eye. Then he says, وَإِن مُزِجَتْ سَبَبُ الْكُحُولَةِ بِسَبَبِ الزُّرْقَةِ فَالشُّهُولَةِ. But if you mix the reason which is causing the eye to be blue with the reasons which is causing for the eye to be dark black, so then it will be shuhula. What is the ashhal or al-lawn al-ashhal? So we say it is, do you know, so it is not black, but inclined towards brown and reddish color. Okay, so for example, if it would be just slightly lighter, we call it al-lawn al-asali, for example, you know, honey color. So that is just a bit darker than that. So that is shahla, al-ayn al-shahla. Okay, so that is about that. So it means the eye, okay, which has, you can say, a brownish red or reddish brown eye, so I mean color, that is mu'tadil mizaj. Okay, now we know two opposites and the middle. So very cold, I mean cold mizaj is blue, hot mizaj is black. Mu'tadil mizaj is, you can say, reddish brown in the between. But what about if it is darker than reddish brown? So then it will be more inclined towards heat. But what about if it is, for example, very bright brown, or you can say green? So we say that is more inclined towards cold. Okay, as well as you have to consider the size, okay, and the shape if it is sticking out. Also, all of that you have to consider. So he says, وَإِن تَقِلَّ الرُّوحُ كَانَ الْأَشْهَلُ. So if heat will be less, so then in terms of from the heat, so then it will be that reddish brown, which we said mu'tadil. أو كثرت في العين كان الأشعل. But if it will be more heat, okay, so then it will be very dark red or very dark brown. Okay, so that is the thing. So now the main thing is two opposites and mu'tadil. Blue on one side and dark black on the other side. Okay, and in between we have reddish brown. So that could be more darker or more brighter. Green is included towards being weaker, cold. Okay, but again, as I say, that's quite difficult just by looking at eye to know the mizaj of the person. Okay, so you have to be familiar with this race to which your patient belongs to. Okay, so question, what about people who are mixed race? How do we classify? It's one of the most difficult issues, you know. So because same thing is related in terms of color, skin color, and the rest of the things. Shape, for example, as far as I know, Nigerian people are very tough, big. Okay, so I also witnessed that German people are very huge also in comparison to English people. So does it mean that when I see, you know, huge shape, so does it mean that I have to say that it's mu'tadil mizaj? Okay, fleshy but shape. So so I say I cannot compare the German people to English people. Okay, so that is so. But then what about if it's mixed? Okay, so what do we do in that case? That's quite difficult question. You have to be wise enough all the time. Keep in your mind all the time. So one blood will be dominant. So that blood will dictate its all conditions in terms of shape and everything else. Okay, so you have to find out what is dominant in the body of your patient, mixed race patient. Okay, so that's important. Okay, anyway, do we have question about what we have learned today? So anyway, today's assignment, you have to write a quick essay about maximum of 500 words, and you have to classify all of the organs of the body into 4 categories. 4 categories. I mean, which organ is classed to be equivalent of which main organ? Okay, and on understanding. No, Fazin, it's exactly the same thing. So if I say Nari, so that means Sofrawi. So if I say Sofrawi, that means Nari. Okay, so, and we will be mixing it, I mean, using this term sometimes and that, but it does not mean anything. I mean, it does not mean, it's synonymous actually. It's just exactly the same. Yeah. Okay. If you have any questions, so that's it. You should ask me now, or otherwise, at 3 o'clock, means after 1 hour, we will have the modern herbal medicine, inshallah. Mu'tad al-Balghami, they call it Mu'tad al-Safrawi, but Mu'tad al-Sawdawi or Mu'tad al-Balghami, it never means Mu'tadil. Okay, so when they say, Ibn Sina also uses it quite often, when he says Mu'tad al-Balghami, so it means that it's not very aggressive in being Balghami mizaj. Understand? But if it is Mu'tad al-Mizaj, they never say Mu'tad al-Damawi, but it means they say only Mu'tad al-Mizaj, Mizaj al-Mu'tadil. Mu'tadil Saudawi or Mu'tadil Safrawi or whatever, it means that it's not very aggressive in the Safrawi mizaj, but it means mild Safrawi. So in here, Mu'tadil is linguistic and not as terminology that we use here, herbal terminology. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for attending today's lecture. And we'll see you next week, inshallah. If you have any questions, do not hesitate. Just email me directly on my Facebook, or you can email me on my personal account on Yahoo. Inshallah, we'll see you after 1 week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.